Caught me off guard. Hey, yo, what's happening, people? Y'all know what time it is. It is time for Classic Konversation with JT and Lo.
And Ask a Cop will not be here tonight, so the pie is safe.
Yeah. As I said, you're here with JT and Lo. I am JT, a.k.a. your classic man, a.k.a. that guy that's going to be bigger and better. Sitting to my right is my man Angelo, a.k.a. Mr. Sit Down at Uptown himself, a.k.a. Low Down. Dig? You all right, bro?
Everything is Gucci, my brother.
All right, good deal. Caught me off guard, man. I was about to do something.
Hey, listen, podcast on there written. Pie, cherry pie, #1 fan. Everybody can get a slice tonight because Ask a Cop is not here. So there you go, #1 fan. And the food was delicious. Thank you very much. Aspen enjoyed. I gave him a piece of the fish. That's how much I love him. She only brought enough. I'm sorry. She brought the pie for the podcast. The food had Angelo's name on it. It was only one piece. It wasn't enough for everybody. So I did share a piece with Aspen, and he was like, oh, this is good. She's doing some new fish, y'all. I hope she makes something for y'all next time. No, that's it next time.
Just let me know.
I told her about you to enjoy the spaghetti, you know.
Yeah, just let me know.
But that bourbon, whatever she doing with that fish and this chicken.
Wait, what? Bourbon?
It's like some kind of bourbon mix, man. That junk is so good. I had to go on and knock that off before I got here.
All right, #1 usually work on Sunday, so I can't say Sunday.
Yeah. She worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so.
All right, got to figure this out.
Look at her and tell her you like it a lot. She'll do it for you next Tuesday. Good.
Got to figure this out. Hey, you say bourbon, and now you talk about putting it in the batter with some fish.
Oh, man, it was good.
You got me.
It was so good.
You got me, so. Delicious. I mean, let me know. I ride. She out there with you, right, Douglasville?
Yeah.
I mean, I ride out. Let me know.
Have food, will travel.
That's all I need, especially after that spaghetti. That spaghetti was popping. Real talk. I mean, and I wasn't even supposed to get it. Angelo don't eat a lot, so yeah, for real. All right, so back to what we supposed to be doing.
JT say, when you finish, just let me know.
Back to what we supposed to be doing,
back to
man.
the show, right?
Yeah, we back here at the show. Listen, people. Listen, we gonna get this thing on, man. May is Mental Health Month, so we have a special guest here tonight. But before we get going with that, what we need for you to do. We need for you to hit those buttons over there, man. Need you to hit all the buttons that's going to help our
algorithm
go up. But I also need you to hit that button that has that arrow on it. You know, it usually goes to the right. Well, if you're looking at it, it goes to your right. So hit that button, man. You got to hit that button. You got to give it to other people. Let them folks come on in here. Let them follow us. Let them get some of this great dialogue for our community. What do they need to do, Angelo?
Tell a friend, tag a friend.
Not now, but right now.
And then do what, Dwayne?
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
That's all you got to do.
We don't ask for a lot.
Just push the button. Push the button. Give us a telephone call, man, 404-500-1605. Ooh, I got it. I've been gone for a week, people. You know, I be doing other stuff, so kind of got caught up. Man, y'all caught me off guard. I'm not ready.
Scrambling.
I know. I'm trying to get things right. Talk, Angelo.
Talk, Angelo. Hey, look, that's hilarious. Hope you don't. Right. They're not sure we live or not. This always confirms to them. This is a live show.
This is a live show.
It just goes on. What's up, Todd?
This is happening right now.
Yeah, man. You know, he coming and he's coming off all this filming he been doing, man. So I don't know if he can share some of this stuff, but you know, so we understand, brother. We understand, man. We got a dope guest, like you said. It's Awareness Month, man, and you know we've had these conversations with these men, folks, and grown men, and things of that nature. Because I always want to ask about something that went on. So did y'all see the Rodney? Was it Rodney Hinton, right?
Yeah.
Junior. Listen.
Wait. Let's because we're getting to go.
I got put that junior in there.
We're getting to go, and of course this man is going to speak on it. So.
Oh, he's gonna be on that topic too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me back up.
I mean,
that was on my notes as a hot topic. I had to bring it up to him.
Think about it. If that ain't, bruh, if that doesn't affect your mental health, what does?
Sheesh.
So again, you know, we got a special guest in here with us today, man. Again, we're speaking about mental health. Y'all know that it's something deep and dear to my heart. May is Mental Health Month. I've told people all the time I ain't got no certificates above my head, so I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. But I can tell you things that can help you get away from certain issues, certain stresses that's going on in your life. And all you can do is try it. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, then you need to go see one of them other people. But right now, my man Jamel.
Jamel, yes.
Jamel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jamel is in the building. Again, just getting started. Last name, go ahead. So
Jamel Shelton.
Yeah,
I'm the founder of
Sheldon.
Undugu Brotherhood, which is Swahili for brotherhood. Undugu, which is Swahili for brotherhood.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you to say it again.
And that's what, because I saw, I went to your page and I saw the shirts and everything, and I saw the Undugu, and I was like, what is Undugu? And I was going to post a picture with Undugu on it, but I was like, what if somebody say, what is Undugu? I didn't know what it was. So go ahead and explain that a little bit.
So Undugu is Swahili for brotherhood, and we are a nonprofit that is a safe space for black men to be authentic, vulnerable, and talk about the things that we've been told essentially all of our lives that we can't talk about for fear of being considered less than a man. So we have safe space conversations. We actually meet, I'm just leaving a meeting. We meet every first and third Tuesday at the Loudermill Conference Center here in Atlanta, Georgia, and our topics are all involved emotional intelligence. So tonight's conversation was Black Man, who are you in the heat of the moment? And the tagline is, how does emotional intelligence play when you're getting into a heated argument with your wife or a loved one? And so we just have open dialogue. We have what we call guiding principles. So inside of our space, there's no ego, no judgment. We ask that every black man speak from an I perspective, no generalizing, because we all have our very unique journey. And last but not least is no title. So we don't care if you're a doctor or a lawyer or if you're a brother that's a sanitation worker. Inside this space, you are just a black man. And that kind of removes the hierarchy, right? Because, if you show up and you're a doctor, somebody else is a sanitation worker, black men oftentimes, we like to lead with what we do. But if you remove those tags, then you have to show up as your most authentic self. And a lot of brothers we find, we don't know who we are without adding the title onto that. So we remove all those disclaimers and those tags to have a real authentic, honest conversation. And it's very, very powerful stuff, man.
Boy, this about to be something else.
Good stuff. I like
This about to
that.
be something else.
Undugu, you got it, good brother. Undugu,
okay.
Swahili for brotherhood. Yes, sir.
All right, Undugu. Yeah, you got me thinking about, what was that the Boston Celtics was calling it when they was going for the championship? Doc Rivers had them do some saying,
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ubuntu and
Undugu, yes.
Undugu.
And Ubuntu, I believe it's you are because we are. You are,
that's it.
right? Which is unity. It's all
Yeah,
all
it's
African.
almost like a brotherhood also type of deal.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So the Roy Hinton thing. Go ahead, Angelo. Boy, that.
I'm just making my post. Go ahead.
From what I know, Roy Hinton Jr., his son was actually shot by police
The day before.
He supposedly, there was an officer directing traffic.
Allegedly.
Great point. Great point. And the thing that got me was the video.
Yeah.
After, when he was walking, they was escorting him, I think, either to court or from court.
He was leaving court.
And they, and that dude put his chin up in the air and looked at them like, y'all ain't, hey.
I'm not intimidated by y'all.
At all.
Yeah.
At all.
But did you see different complexions? Did you capture the looks that they had on their faces? It's like, if you ever want to know what people who were getting lynched and things of that nature back in the day, if you ever want to know the hate that someone had for them to be able to feel comfortable taking you out your household and hanging you and cutting off your privates, and if you look at a couple of them guys' faces, you will see what that looked like. That's what came to my head when I looked at those faces. I like, that's what it looked like. You know what I mean? When those guys wanted to kill him.
Absolutely.
Right there on the spot.
And then they had one black woman, black officer. I don't know if y'all saw that. Who she couldn't even stare that brother in the eyes.
Didn't look his way.
Wouldn't
Couldn't even look his way.
Didn't look his way.
Absolutely.
Didn't look his way.
Would not look. Okay, and an issue like that, And again, as you said, you know, we try and take labels off things, off of people and everything. Even when we talk about certain things that happens with some of our entertainers or some of our sports superstars or whatever, we try and take that off of it and use the, you know, what actually happened. So in this case, something like that happening to your child, that had on that gentleman, to where the next day seeing a badge and just reacting.
And was it a random cop? Do we know, or was it the cop?
No,
I think it was random.
It was a random cop.
Yeah,
Okay.
random.
That's only that 100% sure.
Yeah. I thought it was the actual cop, but found out it was random. So
I think I would say it's unimaginable. I can't fathom losing my son or my kids, period, let alone in the manner of which this brother lost his son. I believe they said that thought it was a gun wasn't there, and to cold-bloodedly just killed his brother, right? So I you know, we see this every day, but in terms of the killing of cops with black men, but to see a man who took justice into his own hand, I don't think we've seen that. I'll speak for myself. I haven't seen that often, but I would only imagine, man, that's unimaginable grief that you're dealing with, and I don't know if he was mentally there. 24 hours. This happened within 24 hours of his son being shot.
And that was the thing that I was wondering, what was he, again, this wasn't that actual officer. Seeing that badge could have been just been a trigger. Just been a trigger. I know we kind of giving the attorneys a self-defense kind of. We kind of give them in their case right now. But that could have been a trigger, to actually make somebody react to something like that. Let's discuss, again, we know that this here was to the extreme, but let's discuss, as we see a lot on social media, children fighting, getting jumped or whatever, and then all of a sudden you see a parent come and come to defend them. Is that some type of, mental stress, some type of trigger that you think that could be happening there? Of course, again, people, this is Classic Konversation, and we are just giving our opinions. We're not saying that this is true fact. It is just an opinion of Classic Konversations and their guest. Understood? Thank you.
So it could potentially, why I don't know the individuals involved, right, any of those circumstances. So I believe it could be a number of things. It could be a trigger. It could be someone who is emotionally immature, right? One could say, because if you see a bunch of if you're an adult and you see a bunch of teenagers, fighting your son or daughter, some could say that that's immature for you. Why don't you break it up versus, hopping in? So I would never speak on behalf of someone else and what they're going through. I also believe that it could be you want that get back, right? And so I think it really all depends on the particular circumstance. I think if it was me, I can see myself jumping in. I can also see myself kind of doing my best to break up a fight. So it really just depends on what that person's going through, right? Some days we have good days. Other days we wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and it's like I see blood, right? And I wanna off whoever's touching my my child.
Saw, I don't know, had you heard about it prior to that video? Was that video the first thing you
was
saw?
my first, yeah.
Okay, so when you first saw that particular part of it, what was the first thought that came to you?
My first thought first, and then the second was, I hope that they don't try to do something to this brother when he gets locked up. And then my third was like, how can we put some money in this brother's books? Some people, like the day before, there was a white woman who called a child as, I don't know if we can cuss. Call a child a nigger, and she raised like $500,000 in a matter of a few hours, right? And so my third, oftentimes when we get locked up, no one is there. Our family and friends, they got their own issues, and no one's really putting money in our books. So my third thing was like, how can we support this brother? Because I understand, and to see that in cold blood, bro, like I have to have some type of grace and sympathy for a brother who just lost his child, man. How can you not?
So now, with that statement right there, right? And then the fact about the woman raising $500,000. We just witnessed there in Texas. It's Texas, right? The one that killed the boy at the track meet. Yeah. How it's okay to cost my nigga and raise $500,000, but it's not okay to defend yourself. It's okay for all this money and support. It's okay, but it's not okay for Trayvon Martin to do it, but it's okay for this guy to kill Trayvon. You know, it's like, you know, how do we, I mean, first of all, the thoughts on it in terms of how those two scenarios just right there in our faces, you know what I mean? Just right there in your face. We don't know what this kid down there in Texas, I don't care what, if you tell somebody don't do something and they take it upon themselves to do it anyway, isn't that action, you know, what's it called? Cause and effect?
That's an action because you're going to get a reaction.
You get a reaction.
Period. You perform the action, you're going to get a reaction. You know, period with that.
So quite honestly, I'm unfamiliar with the situation that happened in Texas.
Okay.
Please catch me up.
Well, real briefly, there's a kid, there was a track meet, black kid, two white brothers. The black kid was in the tent of the other school. The two white brothers, who are supposed to be known racists, although all their social media pages have all of a sudden disappeared, came to the black kid, told him to get out the tent. Black kid said no. White kid said, if you don't, this is what we're gonna do. And these guys supposed to be known bullies, known racists. Black kid said, hit me and see what happens. And the reaction was the black kid had a knife and ended up stabbing one of them to death in the heart.
Wow.
That was the reaction. Now, the black kid, they locked up for, you know, I don't remember what the charges in Texas, but it's like aggravated murder. It's like the highest capital murder, which usually, you know, like here in Georgia, that means I woke up. This kid didn't wake up that day with intention on
Sounds like
killing
it was
these.
reactionary. Yeah, it sounds like it was all reaction. Yeah.
It had, no one understands, had they not decided to be like, you know, whatever they were doing, this doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So now they finally got the kid out on bond. The judge finally reduced the bond, but initially, because it was a charge, there was no bond, and they raised all this money. GoFundMe stopped the money because there was so many complaints on why y'all raising money for this kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, this
Yeah.
woman, woman hasn't been arrested or anything. This woman is actually raising money so that she can relocate her family.
Right, because she's fearful of her life.
Yes, she's
Yeah.
fearful of her life. It started out, her goal was 40,000, but it got to 40,000 so fast she pushed the goal back. So now she's at $500,000.
And still, I believe it's still going.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I need to start me up. I need to start.
No, but it is. From what I read, it's not the same platform. I believe it's another platform that she's using to raise that capital that she's getting.
I need to find out what. I was just gonna say I need to find out what she using. Because for real.
It's crazy.
You know.
I think a lot of these, what we're talking about, it all boils down to our emotional stability. And a lot of, you know, I see with inside of our group, a lot of people, specifically for black men, there's a lot of black men, we're on lives, all the things that we've been told, if I check this, my life is good and I should not be depressed. And what I'm seeing inside of our space is we have all the outward things, and brothers are unraveling. We're still dealing with inner child, the environments of which we grew up with, the homes of which we grew up with, and for so long we've been told that we can't talk about these things. We are less than a man if we talk about these things, and we are. If you look at all the statistics, we are unaliving ourselves at alarming rates right now. We've had at least 4 or 5 brothers over the last year inside from unaliving myself. And when a lot of times I hear, I don't have anyone to talk to, right? Or less than man. I can't talk about these things that I've been dealing with all my life, and because of that, I'm gonna do something else to myself. And I see this. We got brothers as young as 18 to 80. We got brothers who have done 20 plus years in prison. to CEOs, and the common thread between all of those men is we're all dealing with something or have dealt with something, and we have not talked about those things, and it's eating away at us, and we feel that there's no one to talk to, and that's what happened to me. That's really why I started the space, man. And it's really left turns, and unfortunately, and some things we just can't get back, man. We can't get our life back making doing something purposely that you could have talked about, man. And we're just really big on just creating that space where letting brothers know it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to to talk about some of the things that we've all experienced. We all experience these things, man, and no one wants to talk about these things.
Listen, you touched on exactly what we were going to speak about. But before I go there, you went someplace else in regards to creating the space, for brothers to have a space where they can speak.
Be our most authentic self.
And when you ask people, or some people say, I don't have anybody to talk to. Now, again, we spoke briefly. Mental health is something that I'm totally, it's my platform, to be honest with you. Creating a space for someone to actually speak and, just let it all out. Because right now there's a lot of spaces being created. What you've done, I'm actually on a stage play where that's what we do. I'm actually in the process of doing something within the cigar community to create this space. But how do we, is there a way? I don't know if how. Is there a way for us to get people to accept that space or step into that space to actually use it? Because I'm a victim, me myself, I'm one of those people that I tell people all the time, I'm here for you if you need to talk, blah, 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 blah. But then sometimes I realize, shit. But I did.
Question. We go by what we say, removing armor, right? It's this invisible armor that a lot of black men that I talk to, we wake up, we put it on, and it kind of shields us from the world. It shields us from having to emote and share our emotions. And quite honestly, depending on the household or the wife you're married to, some brothers never have the opportunity to take off this armor, and it's really heavy. And so this space is brand new for a lot of men, and some men, it's funny. This is kind of how it generally plays out. Somebody refers someone else to a dude, they show up, they see 70 brothers, and they always start off like this, like what these motherfuckers about to talk about, right? Talk about my mental health. And the conversation keeps going, and it moves slowly from them. And I see it. I do it so often now, I see it. Next thing you know, that foot starts tapping, and before you know it, they're raising their hand. And the first thing they say is, man, I wasn't gonna say nothing. But that brother, when that brother with the black hat started talking, I had to open up. What I know is, if you're too close to real, authentic conversations, you can't help, your soul can't help but to get touched. And I think we go around and we always lead with what we do and how we are and how much money we make. But when we remove all those tags and remove all those titles, you have to show up as your most authentic self with everything you've gone through, and you hear another man that's relatable to you, you can't help but to raise your hand. That's human connection. And going a little bit further, we are, as Africans, we are tribal people. We are designed to be communal, right? This Western society, I won't go that deep, but this Western society really has us keeping everybody as individuals. Our DNA, we are tribal people. So when you're around a tribe of people that look like you from 18 to 80, and you hear a brother talk about something that happened with his wife, or you can't help but to rage. I see it happen. It just happened this evening. We just had a meeting. Meeting's just leaving, but it just happened this evening. Young brother, for the first time, his mom called our hotline and said he's 21 years old. He's going through it, and after about the fourth or fifth brother start talking, I started seeing him do it, and he rolls his hand, and this is what I'm going through. When you're around those spaces with real, authentic, I ain't talking about the bullshit that we talk about, right? Because brothers, we like what we do for a living, the car we drive, right? All the outward things. When you have real dialogue with men who are really going through some shit, you can't. Brothers, well, do I have to talk? It's like, no, you don't have to talk. You could just be a fly on the wall. There's no doubt about it. The conversations are so engaging. If you don't talk about it, the evening of, the next morning I talked about XYZ, it felt it. It's real dialogue, soul-piercing dialogue that you can't help but to get splashed with. And so what I say is, oftentimes, people always say, well, how do I start this space? I say the first thing you can do is be vulnerable, right? So instead of saying, I'm here for you if you want to talk about it, you start the comment. You talk about something that you went through and watch how that situation changed. And for me, that's what happened. I started this space. We've been in existence for the last 5 years. And for me, I was 39, turning 40 years old. I had checked all the boxes that society told me growing up. If I, nice house, nice car, beautiful wife, kid, all the outward things. If I check all these things, I should be happy. I should not be depressed. Checked all those boxes. And it's funny because I didn't even have the words to articulate what I was going through, but I was going through depression. I checked all these boxes and nothing was fulfilling. And I give my wife so much credit. She noticed that I was not myself. And this is a brother, Lewis. I've known this brother for 10, 11 years, always had really engaging conversations. And it was something about that trip, man. We was talking about all the things that black men have been told we can't talk about, again, with fear of being considered less than man. And so I spent a week out there, and I remember flying back home, and I was like, man, these surface conversations I'm having with my brothers, they no longer serve me. How you doing? The money? Y'all know the surface conversations. And so what I'm gonna do, I told myself, what I'm gonna do is when I go inside a room and I start having dialogue with brothers, instead of saying everything's all right, I'm gonna lead with what's going on. I'm gonna lead with removing my armor. And the first 10 brothers I had that type of engagement with, they all said, damn, Jamel, it's crazy you're saying this because I'm going through my ... We are successful. We have done all the things that we've been told to do in terms of to gain success, but these are all outward things. Internally is what a lot of cases where we're going wrong, or the things that we have not healed from. There's brothers who grew up in certain areas of this, Compton, or certain areas where you saw your best friend get shot at 14 years old. You got no therapy. Like, that shit has to, as human beings, it has to stick with you. And we talk about removing not looking at it from a man standpoint and being mindful that before man, we are human, right? And as human, we should be allowed to share and talk about our emotions. When you have situations where you have men that's for generations been pent up and we can't talk, as a human, we're breaking. And so you see the stats about black men unaliving themselves. We're going through things and we keep piling on. There's only so many cars you can buy. There's only so many outfits. There's only so many women you can have sex with. There's only so many strip clubs before. None of that works. You got to deal with yourself. And we seen, brothers, if you're not dealing with yourself will deal with you in some very unhealthy ways. I get very passionate. I will fall back.
Hey, dude, it's not many times I want a guest to just keep talking, but you killing it. I just learned a lot with that in regards to what I'm trying to get started. I appreciate that.
I would say that start with yourself and that tell that brother what you're going through and watch how it remove your armor and watch how open the dialogue becomes, bro. I promise you.
Yeah. You just, because I've been not waffling. I've been trying to figure out how to get it started, but I appreciate that. You helped me out a lot with that. But you went on the thing. Did you have anything?
Yeah, real quick, because I know we only got 5 minutes for the break. So before we start going to the next question, I just wanted for you to kind of tell people who you are. You know what I mean, where you come from, what your background is leading up to this, so that we get to the second path, we can kind of dig deep into these questions.
I appreciate it. So my name is Jamel Shelton. I am on the East Atlanta Beltline called Just That Honey. So if you all are into tea or coffee or espresso, please stop by our location. We're located again on the East Side Beltline.
Oh, got the website information.
Absolutely. So I'm an entrepreneur. I am a father of 3. I am a devoted husband, and I am a black man. as humanly possible because I recognize the strength in men when we open ourselves up. I'm also a TEDx coach, so I love communication and speaking. Actually, one of the things that we've done through Ndugu, I started, and I don't know if you want to talk about this, to wait till after the break, but I noticed a pattern with inside this space when given the opportunity, and it's time for a black man to speak. Oftentimes we fumble over our words, we stumble, and as a facilitator, I'm like, damn, bro, like, hurry up and like, get it out. And what I realized was, it wasn't that we didn't have anything to talk about. Black men aren't used to talking. Black people aren't used to checking for black men's voices. And so when you get the opportunity to talk for the first time, you don't know how to talk. And what I say, there is a misalignment between our thoughts and our words. If you're not used to practicing conversation, there is a misalignment. I call it the buffer zone, where you're aligning your thoughts and your words, because once the brother gets going, you almost gonna be like, all right, bro, let's slow down. And so what we created is which I have the manual right here. I created a manual called Ndugu Speaks, which it covers two primary themes. It covers an emotional intelligence theme and foundation speaking principles. And so my thought process is, as black men go through this manual, not only are they learning more about emotional intelligence, so words like vulnerability, shame, empathy, self-compassion, these words that have been essentially taboo within inside of our culture, they're also learning about foundation speaking principles, so like organizing your speech, transitions, eye contact, vocal variety. And for me, I believe this curriculum covers a gamut of men, right? It covers the men who are already professional speakers who may want to work more on their emotional intelligence, or it might be for the brother who is a sanitation worker. This brother's been working for the city of Atlanta for the last 12 years. He deserves a raise, but because he is not confident in his communication, he's not asking for the raise, right? And so he's not going to cuss his boss off, but what's going to happen is he's going to come home, he's going to be resentful, and so the relationship with him and his wife, him and his kids, is not so much, and it has nothing to do with what's going on inside home. It's because he doesn't have he can't articulate his needs inside the workplace. And so what I've seen inside this curriculum is brothers who come from all walks of life. Brother who might be a warehouse worker at somewhere in Southwest Atlanta, and they come inside this space, and the first few speeches, they're shaking and they're nervous and they struggling up there. And as they continue to go through it, now they're learning the notes. Now their chin is up a little bit. Now their shoulders are pressed. And what I realize is, as black men, we have amazing journey. We have, like, man, to hear some of these conversations and some of the things that brothers have gone through, I'm really in awe. And I'm not talking about the bullshit. Like, what men have really gone through, I'm in awe of the strength of the black man. And these stories, they get buried with us. And so I want to create a space where it's okay to talk about the things we've gone through, because behind that is really bravery. We've been kind of hoodwinked to believe that if we talk about our insecurities, thing we're going through, we're weak. It's really the opposite. To stand up in front, I've seen men, stand up for the first time in front of 40 or 50 brothers, don't know him from Jack, and he's talking about a time that his aunt's uncle molested him as a child and how that's impacted him as an adult. There's not many spaces, I don't know, respectfully to, a lot of spaces that's doing the work, there's not many spaces where a man can be that authentic and talk about being molested at 13 years old and how it's impacting raising his son as 50 years old. Wow. That's the kind of space that we need. And quite honestly, it's the first step to, we say often we got licensed therapists inside our space, but really a bridge to start really talking about.
Get there.
I mean, there's been times where oftentimes where I see men verbalizing for the first time things that they've been thinking about. And you can see men go through the process of like, oh shit, like I'm actually saying this thing that has been in my mind for decades. But now I feel like there's a safe space where I can actually talk about it, because a brother that looks just like me, he told me some shit that was way worse than my situation. So how can I not offer what I've gone through, because I'm in a room with other men who are going through even worse things from me? And it's really, when the conversations get going, by 30 minutes in, man, you got brothers. I got something to add too. And so now we're in this space right now where, and please let me know we need to go to break. I'm very
About to
passionate
go now.
about
Let me
this.
see. Let me see it.
Absolutely.
Let me hold it up right here.
Absolutely. Undo
As,
speaks.
as we get ready to go to break.
Yeah,
here.
I haven't looked over there the whole time. My bad, boss lady.
I saw it.
I'm zoned in on everything
yeah,
you're
good.
saying, for real.
Good.
Undugu.
Undugu. Yes.
Undugu.
Yeah, so that's
I
Undugu
said,
Speaks. So again,
Undugu.
it's a platform. So as you thumb through it, it has 10 chapters. And again, so chapter 1, I give you an example. Chapter 1, the emotional intelligence theme is vulnerability. And the foundation speaking principle is organizing your speech. So you have a black man in front of 60 brothers, and he has to talk about vulnerability, and it's critique where he has to organize his speech. We have a chapter in there that's the emotional intelligence theme is shame and eye contact. So we got brothers who are talking about shame, and you got to look a brother square in his eye. You talking about some power, man? You got brothers leaving out there with tears, man. It's when you have an authentic space where a black man can really not share the bullshit about
I'm
sports and everything, but you
chills.
can really talk about what you've gone through. It's some powerful. It's really
man.
powerful, man.
Here's the man. We're gonna be right. Go ahead, JT.
Hey, listen, we'll be right back.
This brother got it. We're gonna let him get the rest of his passion out.
Because
We love it.
He coming back. He coming back another night. Please understand that part.
I appreciate
But
that,
when he comes back, we're gonna we're gonna see what he thinks in regards, as he talked about the shiny jewelry, the cars, and all. Supposedly everything in life, and then all of a sudden just exploding. We're gonna use the Shannon Sharp situation and see what he's thinks about that. Of course, we're using Shannon Sharp, but of course, this can happen to any of us. We'll be right back. Classic Conversations with JT and Logan.
And Ask a Cop won't be here tonight. Last time.
This is good. Classic Conversations with JT and Lo.
Keep it moving. I said last time. Keep it moving. Yeah, we in black and white tonight too, man. We didn't plan this either, man. That's crazy, right? I just looked at that and realized.
404-500-1605. Hey, man, give us a call. You can make a comment. You can ask a question. But you only got 2 minutes to do so. If you're a black man out there looking at this right now, you don't call in here with a question, or maybe you're putting it on the chat, but you got to have a question for this man, bro. I mean, some good stuff right here. There's some good
And
stuff.
all y'all should be tagging a friend and telling a friend right now. Everybody.
If it's not
That's
for
crazy.
you, I promise you, you know somebody else that it could be for. That's what I try and tell people. Every play that I'm in, it has something to do with mental health. I tell them, sometimes you have to see certain things to actually believe that type of thing happens. You know, as you said, sometimes people come with the fluff, so people don't believe what people say. But sometimes when you see it acted out, you know, you can be like, damn, my man Ray was going. You know what I'm saying, bro? You know, reach out, man. We got some good stuff going on here tonight. Hey, no disrespect to any other person that's been here, but this is this is you stupid. I just realized what you said. This right here.
I'm trying to make sure JT don't lose no friends, man.
I get what he's saying. I get what that's why I said no disrespect, you know, but this is hitting to what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Hey, real quick, man. Frank said old girl passed $700,000 now, the white lady.
That's crazy, man.
What's up, Unc? How you feeling? Thank you, Jose. She said this panel looks amazing tonight. She sees us all the time, so she must be talking about you, but we still appreciate you.
Yeah.
Jose said the more we normalize men being vulnerable, true statement. But Frank told Jose she didn't say that when he was on the show. Ty Vick said we have to be our own brother's keepers. Jose said I said the same thing. We're trapped in the matrix, separated from our tribe, being pit against one another, competing for resources, groomed to look at money and status to have value. What's up, number one? You got to go back to see. I already shouted you out. She said that book is fire. She needs 3 of them.
Got it.
JT, we supposed to be the Tar Heel brothers. I ain't coming. Hilarious. All right, go ahead.
All right, as I said before we went to break, man, you know, we've seen one of our brothers, I can't say he crashed out, but he's let's put it that way. He ain't crashed yet, but he losing control. You know, the wheel is all over the road right now. He hitting brakes and they ain't working, all types of stuff. So the stresses of, you know, status.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a certain status or image of upholding to that. And as we see, there is no age limits to it. We can see, you know, it used to be that this was something that only happened to younger folks, but now, you know, it's happening to people of age. So what are your thoughts in regards to the pressures that actually can push some of us to making a certain decision or a certain decision to do certain things, and then later on realizing, damn, I just did that because.
So I say, you know, regardless if you're in a limelight or not, we all got pressures, right? Like, I'm not famous. Y'all are famous. I'm not famous. But we all have pressures. I think it's so important to keep some strong people around you that can check you, right? And so when you reach these certain milestones, when you're popular, you know, sometimes they say when you get a certain threshold, sometimes brothers keep yes men around them. People aren't gonna really check them because of whatever reason, right? And that's also removing your ego. My opinion with the Shannon Sharp situation, I haven't really been following all that much, is to me it's obvious he doesn't have any real men around him that would have checked him. For you to be around a 19-year-old, regardless of what color you are, a grown-ass man around a 19-year-old, right, and get in those situations, you should have somebody with inside your camp that's like, yo, bro, what the fuck are you? What are you doing? You're willing to risk all that you've accomplished over this? And so again, I don't know the details. I don't like talking about another man's business, but I believe if he has some real men around him, if he has some real men who really had his back, and they can be very authentic with him, I would think he would not be in this situation. But chances are.
Let me give you a little pushback to that though.
Yes, please.
I know everybody throws around the 19 part. Not that it makes a difference, but people call her a teenager. You know, apparently when they started having sex, she was 20, almost 21 years old. So
21, 22, something.
So I just want to give that context, right?
That's fair.
But let me ask, when we say things like that, I guess, no, it's really a wasted question because I already know the answer. I'm about to describe the difference between how we as black people ridicule and chastise a Shannon Sharp. (20, 19, 20, whatever the age may be), but yet they, in the same breath, they applauded. A lot of our people applaud Bill Belichick, who's 73 years old, with a 23-year-old who he's been dating for several years. I think she's 24 now, but she was 20 when they met. And he's 73 years old, but it doesn't gain the same criticism, and it doesn't gain the same criticism from us.
I agree. I have no rebuttal. You're absolutely right. But I think going back to even some of the other examples that we used in today's show in terms of how people are raising money versus, right? And so if we're talking about black men or black people in America, we already have a few strikes against us. But again, I'm not making it right or wrong with you. I agree with you 100%. But we just got to know that in our situation, we have to play a little bit more stricter by the rules. We don't have the same amount of leash given. I'm making up words right now. We don't have the same amount.
The leash. Our leash is a lot shorter.
So we don't have the opportunity to fuck up and go back, right? And so I would say, even going back to Shannon Sharp, while it is legal, it's completely legal. In my opinion, there's a difference between legal and morals, right? So yes, legally shouldn't get arrested or anything like that, but like morally, right? My daughter's 20. I'm 46. My daughter's 27 years old. I'm married, happily married, right? But if I was not married, I couldn't foresee dating anyone younger than my daughter. And my daughter is almost 30 years old. So that's my personal moral compass. And being mindful, everyone has a different moral compass. Also, again, I'm not Shannon Sharp. I can only imagine the amount of women is drawn to him over the years. His brother's been very successful. Will Smith had this in the case with Shannon Sharp. You've had sex with so many people that the thrill is not the same thrill, and so maybe he's looking after a whole nother thrill. I have no idea. I try my best not to speak on behalf of another man and what they're going through because.
Yeah.
But do you think? Oh, I'm sorry, JJ. But do you think? And this is just a quick.
Absolutely.
Do you think it would have garnered the same amount of criticism had she been black? No. That's all. I mean, had she been, yeah, no. Okay, that's all.
No.
Now,
I think the sisters might have criticized him, but definitely not as much as the current situation because.
I mean, would the sister have even went as far as this chick is going?
She would have took 10 million
and walked away. 5. Hey, you know what? 2.5. Right. 2.5. Been good. But okay.
I was gonna do it. Y'all ain't about to do that to me, man.
Okay. All right. Take a chance. It's hard to take him out of it, but the way I've looked at it, Shannon Sharp is. You take a country dude, and all he has done is work out and play football. That's it. The money that he got early on, yeah. Compared to the money he's getting now, it wasn't anything. You got to realize this was 20 years ago.
Right.
You also look at, and again, this is just my take on it. You look at somebody that's didn't have money, so they guard their money. They guard it tightly, so they don't do a lot. I don't think Shannon had a whole bunch of sex in his days. I think he had some, but I don't think he had just like sex, say like.
Well, I disagree.
I don't think that he.
I know his background.
I don't think that he had that much like that.
He probably wasn't, like some of the other guys.
That's what I'm saying. But I think that now that he has money, he now has money at this age that he can actually trick off. Back
So
then
why
he
trick
was saving
off
all the
other
money.
than that,
And that's what I want to get to. Is there a way to I don't know how you can recognize it, but is there a way, somebody that gets to that point to where all of a sudden they got this freedom that they didn't think they had 10, 20 years ago. Now all of a sudden they have it and they just go for it. What I want somebody to put a battery cable on my toe and put some water on it. Let me see what the fuck happened. Some shit that they ain't never done or some stuff that they've read about because now they have a certain freedom that they've never had before. I mean, let's face it, Shannon Sharp has come from, he took off. But he really took off when he got into this, this realm of sportscaster where he really, really took off because of
Football fan number 4. Now the world knows him. That's what it is.
And his the different thing about him is he is country and got all those country jokes.
Can I answer?
Go ahead.
Your question, and it's similar to you were just saying, but why a 19-year-old? Let me just put something in perspective for you guys, right? There was and I brought this up several times before, and I have to bring it up again. There's a certain mansion out in L.A. that was very, very popular.
Yeah.
It had a very, very popular guy who wore a robe.
100%.
Y'all may have heard of it before.
100%.
And how old do you think?
I think there was a
do you
magazine.
think there was a bunch of 30-year-old, 40-year-old models running around there? What do you think the age range is of?
100%.
This
18,
is
yeah, yep.
this is
Literally,
not
18
this.
to 20.
Hey,
This is nothing
Shannon,
new.
It's not new.
Hey, come on, man.
I know it's
what
not
are we
new.
talking about?
But it's not new.
That
I
was
get
filmed
that.
and taped and very, very in your face.
Hey, this is just
There's a
something that's
there's a
been
magazine
known.
out about it.
This is just something that we've.
I enjoyed it myself.
And when guys were buying those same magazines, them 50, 60, 70-year-old men, they were looking at 18, 19-year-old girl. This is. I mean, come on, man. I think we're being. I just hate it. And Ben, thank you because he said it in the comment. It's just. I just think it's the hypocritical point. But it's just being but it's just us. I just hate when we do it. That's all. That's all I hate when we
getting
do
back
it.
to what I was saying, is it a certain? Is that a certain mental anguish, a certain mental avalanche that comes down when you all of a sudden have this certain freedom? A windfall of money and freedom is comes upon you and you just do.
Wow.
Again, nothing. The sexual escapades he did wasn't illegal because she kept coming back. To me, that wasn't illegal. But is there something that where you can actually say? Mentally, he got affected by this newfound freedom that he had.
I am not a licensed therapist at all, right? So I'm gonna put that out there first
Let
and
me
foremost.
give you some dap on that.
Absolutely.
One of the things
ain't
I always tell
pretend
people.
Like I know. But what I do know is, what I believe is, depending on this brother's childhood, right? Something could have happened to him. He might have been molested, or there's a million and one scenarios that I can paint and really just throw something out there. I don't want to discredit this brother. I don't think it's fair to him, and it's definitely not fair to me because I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. I ain't gonna sit up here and lie to you, brother. I don't know what's going on. What went on in that brother's head where he where he felt that I won't say not okay because again it's legal, but my thing is morally, you know, was that morally your thing?
Okay. All right. You got anything to comment?
It's been several. Hold on.
Okay,
My
because then
my phone keeps like. You go ahead to the next question. I'll get it.
Okay, well, what I was going to, I mean, we spoke on it a little bit earlier, but basically it's, you know, where do we as black men go to be heard? Of course, you know, you have what's going on and everything, but somebody that does not have access to you, somebody out here that's watching that might know somebody that lives some, you know, like church is certain places that you think would be around, especially in black communities where you think that's like we the show The Shy. That's why I love this. And they spoke. That was profound. I mean, the show went from what we all loved to actually recognizing something that we actually needed.
Yeah, and something that's real.
Yeah, something that we actually needed.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just some people, you know, shooting, killing, and, you know, trying to scheme and do this. It was something that was actually needed. So in regards to that, what do you think, you know, some people would, again, that's not near Atlanta or whatever, that they could reach out to or look for in their.
So I would tell that brother to be mindful first and foremost. Everyone around you. Sometimes we live in this echo chamber where we feel that the thing that we're going through is very limited to just us. So the first thing I would tell that brother is your situation is not just for you. A lot of brothers around you are going through it. And the second thing I would tell them, which is the same thing I told you earlier, is with inside of your group, somebody has to be the first person to remove their armor. It gives permission. When you're transparent and authentic, it gives permission from those around you to do the same thing. And if you have a situation where no one's willing to be that person, it's almost like, who's going to be the first person to raise their hand and say, I need help? Once that happens, that's when I say the magical conversations happen. And honestly, you look more courageous. This world we live in, the society we live in, it really has us believing that if we are vulnerable, we are weak. And I see all the time again where if you're the first person to open up and be authentic and talk about what you're going through, it's like a domino effect. The next brother will, damn, that's crazy you're saying this because I'm going through that. And so I would, again, to answer your question directly, if you are in a situation and you feel you need to get something off your chest, I would tell you to be brave enough to start the conversation and don't overthink. I'm going to say this, he's going to say that. Then I'm going to say this, he's going to say that. He's going to think something about it. Just be brave enough to say, you know what, bro? I'm going through it. And of course, you got to be mindful of the people. You can't be
Just
you know,
anybody,
right? You know who to. I would think you know who to talk to, but be brave enough to just engage that initial conversation. And I see us batting 1,000, man. The next brother, because he's going through something that you don't know about, he's almost going to be forced to be like, man, that's crazy you're saying that because I'm dealing with whatever it is. And that human connection really starts and those engaging conversations really happen.
So
Someone has to be brave enough to raise their hand and say, I'm not doing all right and I need to get this off.
So you're basically stating that where do black men need to go to be heard? They can basically start it themselves.
Absolutely.
You don't need to go anywhere.
You really don't.
You have
Start
your own
with inside
space.
your clique. You know, when I was going through before I founded an
You know what, Angela? I need to talk to you later. I need to be vulnerable.
That's real talk. When I was going through what I was going through, it was a period of time where I felt that I didn't have, I outgrew my friends, right? And so based off where I was at in life, my friends couldn't relate. And what I now know is we just didn't switch up our conversation. So when I was talking to some of my old school friends, we were still talking about sports and sex and the things we were talking about 20 years ago. We weren't talking about the things that we're dealing with our wife or our kids not really paying attention. And so
knowing what I know now, I'll just keep it all the way real and talk about currently, because I now know that every man is dealing with something. I really had the thought process, damn, I don't want to share this because this brother's going to think I'm weak. I'm the only one that's going through it. And I now know that because some of my best friends that for a while we stopped talking, now that I'm having engaging in real life conversations that's going on right now, we're connected again because he's dealing with the same thing because we're in our 40s, we're both married, we both got kids, and we're dealing with real shit.
Good stuff.
So I would say, quite honestly, man, to that brother, be brave enough to start the conversation, and you'll be amazed at how much your best friend, if you've known for a while, what they're going through. We're all going through the shit, man. I met a brother, man. We got multi-million. We got brothers that own airplane. We're all dealing with something. It's a common pattern. We're all dealing with something, but nobody wants to raise their hand and be the first one to say, I'm dealing with it.
So with that being said, I was curious in terms of, you said what, the conversation you had in Bali that kind of formed the group, but how did you go about actually starting it?
Quick
and
question.
Did you face what difficulties or challenges or thoughts of giving up did you have with that group?
Great question.
Question, boy.
Very good question. So I landed, and my thought process again was like, I'm gonna remove my armor and start having these conversations. And so the first 10 brothers I had conversations with, I told them what I was going through. They ... damn, I'm dealing with my ... And before we had a name on Ndugu, we had our first unofficial Ndugu meeting at the gathering spot. And we had 20 brothers sit down. I can't even think of the topic. We had 20 brothers sit down, and we just had very engaging conversation. And I remember walking away from the conversation like, man, that was pretty good. Like, brothers are really opening up. And the next morning, man, I had like 4 text messages like, Jamel, I went home and I had the most engaging conversation with my wife, and I know it stemmed from being inside that table. And so that was like, oh, like there isn't, because these aren't, the brothers I was talking, these are successful brothers that got all the things.
All the boxes checked.
All the checks. We checked all those boxes.
Right.
The only box we have not checked is healing our internal child, man. And so that's really how I initiated. And then, and so when we started formulating the group, my initial thought process was, damn, you know what? I'm gonna just have we're gonna have these trips where we bring brothers out the country, and we had this kumbaya moment, and brothers are gonna just start sharing. And what I quickly realized, you can't get a bunch of brothers who don't know each other to fly anywhere and start talking about these type of conversations. And so I kind of slowed down. We had our first Ndugu meetings inside of Just That Honey, my wife and I's tea shop. Started off with 4 or 5 brothers, quickly grew out of that space. Then we moved to the bookstore gallery, quickly moved out of that space. Now we meet at the Loudermill Conference Center. And when I tell you we have, 2 hours ago, we had 70 brothers inside that space. We have now a membership of about 350 brothers. And on average, we have about 70 to 80 brothers that show up, man.
Wow.
And what's so amazing is I'm noticing now the tougher the topic, the more brothers show up. We had a conversation. The topic was, Black man, what's your relationship with your insecurity? When I tell you we had brothers sitting down, we had about 90 brothers inside that space, sitting down, standing up for hours, because no one's ever asked that question, like, what is my relationship with my insecurity? And so to hear a grown man talk about some of the things that he's been going through all of his life, and then hear another brother like on the corner like, damn, me too. It's like, oh, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only person that's going through this. As Black men, we need to be a little bit more braver and just raise our hand and just start talking to someone who you feel confident, right? Because you can't talk to everybody about this, right?
Facts.
People that you feel like y'all brothers, people that you feel that's in your corner, share what you're going through. I promise you, man, you can't be inside of a room and have authentic conversation and not have the other person be touched and, touched in terms of emotion.
We got you.
I want to add a pause in like that, right?
No pause, no diddy.
Right.
Yeah, got to do that. Yeah.
But you can't have these type of conversations without it really piercing your soul. And that's when the magic happens. That's when those magical conversations happen to really push the needle and to get brothers to go to therapy. I'm huge on therapy. I often say that a lot of us are living in triggers that happen when we were a kid. I'll give you a perfect example. Before I started going to therapy, Yeah, I'm gonna say this. So my wife would have this thing when we'll be downstairs, she'll be upstairs, and she'll yell at our kid. Not yell, but like yell to get our kids' attention. Like, William, come upstairs. And it would always like irk me a little bit, like, man, why is she yelling at the kid? She wasn't yelling at him, but like, why is she yelling?
Right.
Going through therapy, I realized that one of my triggers was when I heard my wife say that, it reminded me of my childhood with inside of my household, right? So even things like hearing my wife, when my wife would talk to me in a certain tone, I would be triggered. And I realized that I wasn't going through therapy. It's not that it wasn't my wife that's triggered me. It was my inner child that was not healed based off the household I grew up in. And so I was reliving experience that happened when I was 8, 9 years old that I just did not heal from. And so now I have a new relationship, because my therapist always says different spaces, different people, but it's the same emotional reaction. A lot of us are walking time bombs, being triggered by the littlest thing, and we think it's the person right in front of us. But if you can go through 2 or 3 different girlfriends and that you still get that reaction, it's something that has not been healed. And typically, they say, as from humans, a lot of these things that happen from the ages of, I want to say the ages of 8 to 12, they're still showing up in our lives. And so it's a different person, same reaction. We have to heal ourselves. And so, people think, well, I'm gonna date somebody else. I'm gonna marry somebody else. It's not that person. You need to heal. And unless we start talking about that and having real engaging conversations like that, we're gonna have a bunch of brothers who are easily triggered and thinking it's the other person. Really, you need to heal yourself.
What we at on the time?
We there.
Sorry, y'all.
Right.
We there.
My apologies, y'all.
And I said we there. You want to go ahead and shout out him and we close out the top 5? Go ahead and show where to follow you at. The name of your tea and coffee shop for sure. We get that
Everything, man. Put it out there, bro, because shit, I'll be there. I'm going to be late, y'all. Second and third Tuesday or something. No,
Yes,
yeah, I'm gonna be late.
so for Just Add Honey, again, we have a loosely tea company.
Say it one more time.
Just Add Honey.
Add Honey.
Just
Okay.
Add Honey Tea Company. We're located at 684 John Wesley Dobbs. We are on the East Atlanta Beltline. We sit about a block away from Krog Street. And you can find us on justaddhoney.net or follow us on Instagram at Just Add Honey. In terms of Ndugu, we
the
have
hours there?
we're open Tuesday through Sunday, 7 to 7.
Copy that.
You can people watch, you can chill out. It's a beautiful vibe, man. I'm really proud of the work that my wife and I are doing. Beautiful vibe. In terms of
You smoke a
Ndugu,
cigar out there?
you can't. But we do have a
Outside.
yes, absolutely.
Oh, as long as outside. I'm
Yes,
good.
sir. I bring my
I
own
just
chair.
add my honey right outside.
Yes, sir. It's great weather right now for a cigar. boy.
Absolutely.
It ain't got too hot yet. It's great right now.
In terms of so we have 2 different programs again with Ndugu. We have the Ndugu Chop It Up. We meet every first and third Tuesdays at the Loudermilk Conference Center. It's 40 Cortlandt Street in Atlanta, Georgia. You can follow us on Ndugu, which is UNDUGU Brotherhood. That's our Instagram account. Please pull up Black Man, or even the sisters, because we get a lot of great feedback from the women, right? So brothers pull up. Ladies, if you have a son or a husband or a colleague that you feel needs this space, please invite them over. And then Ndugu, I got 2 more things to shout out. We have Ndugu Speaks. We meet every second and fourth Tuesdays at Emory University. So that's the space where brothers can work on their emotional intelligence while learning how to become a better, more proficient speaker.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
And then last but not least, shout out to I So Bloom. So me and a few of my brothers, we recently created a podcast called I So Bloom. So that's spelled IGHT, So Bloom. And it's essentially Ndugu for the public, right? So we talk about a lot of the conversations that we have inside of Ndugu. And it's really talking to brothers about us blooming, going through some of the things that we've gone through. And you all can find us on YouTube, So Bloom, IGHT, SOBLOOM. You can also find us on Instagram, the same thing, So Bloom. And shout out to y'all brothers, man. From the moment I walked in, y'all made me feel right at home. I appreciate and really love what y'all doing, man.
Appreciate that,
bro.
man. Appreciate that, man. We're going to make sure we follow all those platforms.
Yes, that's a fact.
Sure.
That is a fact.
And I gotta get y'all gotta pull up too, man.
No, I'm coming. I'm
gotta pull
trying
up.
to tell you now.
You gotta
ain't
pull
said
up,
nothing,
man.
bro.
In person, bro.
Yeah, definitely
I'm supposed
coming.
to go film, but I'm gonna be a little late for that because me and you got to chop it up a little bit, bro. 'Cause there's a lot of stuff you're doing that I'm totally.
Where you
interested
from,
in.
man, brother Frank? Answer.
Originally from, I was born in Chicago, but I call Springfield, Massachusetts my home. I grew up there from 4 to 17 before I moved down to Atlanta. But Atlanta is I'm from Springfield, Mass, but Atlanta is absolutely home. Atlanta's
Gotcha.
been
Understood.
really good to me, man.
Gotcha.
Springfield, Mass.
All right, we're gonna jump right into top 5. JT, you should, I don't know if you saw it yet, but the top 5 is your top 5 daily habits for men's mental wellness. Top 5 daily habits for men's mental wellness. Yeah.
Have they already put some in there yet, or?
Well, no, I was just reading some of the comments that I didn't get back to. I just saw some of them, but.
All right, we'll read some of them comments and.
Give you a quick second to look to think.
Uh oh.
Yeah, I mentioned what Ben said. Based on what she said, the image they give us a judge, jury, executioner. I ain't studying you, Frank. What's the difference
Frank.
between you men taking your sons to strip clubs and peep shows? What is the difference between you men taking your sons to strip clubs and peep shows?
Right.
Number one
Probably doing New
fan.
York. You said them
Playboy man
25
kicking
cent
girl out at
joints. Put a
24.
quarter in there, get you about 30 seconds.
Say so they worry about
Oh yeah,
all
that was
communities.
way back though. I'm sure that's went up.
I'm not sure what that question was referencing to. I don't know if it was back that we were talking about Hugh Hefner. I'm not really sure, so it's hard to answer that. But I think there's a difference. But and there's a preference. I mean, I don't take my son to strip club, but if they ask me to, I
so
would.
you'll give-
But I would. I mean, but I don't think they feel comfortable. It would feel comfortable with.
We do different.
No, I'm telling you, they had the opportunity to go. Real talk. After a bowl game, Lee, my business partner, if everybody know Lee, and my boys, they declined. Yeah, I was so proud.
To go to the peep show or the strip club? For real?
You gonna take it to Magic? Yeah, they did.
Tell Lee I'm available. Look, tell Lee I'm available. I need to go.
Hilarious. Dessert is cherry delight. Number one fan said, "Happy Mother's Day to all." Thank you very much. So, we'll let you start.
Yes. So my first thing is specifically for black men, remember to intentionally breathe, man. Like, breathe, man. And I'm not talking about just, just breathing. Like, center yourself, find a quiet spot in your room or outside, ground yourself, and intentionally inhale and exhale. And you do that, a few times. That's actually how we start anything that we do with inside of Ndugu, because we're mindful brothers are traveling from dropping off kids to, leaving jobs, and it's a way for us to all align ourselves. So my first thing would be to remember to breathe, black man. Black man, breathe. My second thing would be
Get a shirt. Black man breathe.
we got a brother. Shout out to my brother Lewis. He runs Just Breathe Universe, and this brother Lou. Yeah, brother. Yeah, absolutely. So you talking about Bali? I went to Bali to see Lewis. Is one of my best. Bali was Lewis was living in Bali. I went to visit Lewis. Lewis is the co-founder of Ndugu. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Yes. Good brother. So yes, please breathe, man. Set yourself away from everyone and just calm your nerves. We are tense because we are not breathing. When we intentionally breathe, it regulates our nervous system, and we are walking around tight because we're not really intentionally breathing. So breathe first. The next thing I would say is walk, man. Touch nature. Go out there and get a walk. Something I was doing for a long period of time. I would set my alarm for 4:44 in the morning. And I will walk around You got to get into rhythm. I haven't done it for a little while, but it's practice. And for me, because my day is always busy, it was just a way for me to kind of start my day before everyone else out. And I also felt that, walking my neighborhood, it felt like I had to jump on the rest of the world because everybody's lights are off. And as I got back and just so much stress is off me, and it just gave me the opportunity to really clearly think about my day. There was time always when I wake up with my family, if I'm waking up and I'm cussing kids out to try to get them ready for school,
Right.
it never sets the tone for my day. But to give myself some time beforehand, it's always very helpful. I would say number 3 is meditate, which is very close to breathing. But meditate, find you some mantras. I would say number 4 is definitely journal. Journal your thoughts, even if you don't have anything to write. Just making it a habit to grab a pen and a paper and just write, and getting your brain into formation of practicing that. So write. And then I would say my 5th is find a good brother, man. Find a good brother. There's some things that the women in our lives can't take care of. We need good men around us. Again, as African Americans, we are tribal people, right? And so when we go against, I need to do it by myself, I don't need no help, that's not within our DNA, man. We are tribal people. So find you a good brother that you can pour into, and that same brother can pour into you, man. And that's my top 5.
Okay,
Excellent. I
good
like
deal,
it.
good
I like
deal.
What you got, TZ?
All right. Well, of course, as you can see, I'm sitting here smoking a cigar. One of my 5 daily habits is, and I can't say that this is daily because I'm trying not to smoke every day, but there are moments where I need it. A cigar has a lot of versatility to it, so I can smoke a cigar and just be. Most of my habits are about just being at that moment. Music. Jazz, old school music that I actually know, because what that does for me is it takes my mind away from whatever is going on at that moment, and then I can look at it afterwards with a clearer eye. I'm big on looking at things, getting away from things, because if you think about things too long, you're gonna think wrong. So I like to get away from things so that I can look at things with a clearer eye afterwards. Most of mine is about getting away, so reading.
That's good.
Whatever you're reading, it could be sports, it could be Black history, it could be fiction, nonfiction, whatever. Something that's going to take your attention again away from whatever is happening, so that you can come back to it with a clearer eye to be able to see, what you need to see. The breathing part, I've recently taken on that within the last 2 or 3 months. Finding a space in a day, doesn't have to be long.
Yeah.
2 to 5 minutes of silence
Should have changed your life.
and just breathing and being again in the moment right then and there. Because like you said, us as Black men, man, we have so much going through our heads. Not only our families, we thinking about other families, we think about our friends, especially if you're that guy. Yeah. I know that he's one of them, I know that I'm one of them, and I listening to you, I know that you're one of them. We have people that come to us about their stuff, and whether you know it or not, you take on what you're listening to. So, just sitting still and just, again, like I said, just sitting still for a second and just being in that moment and taking those breaths. I've thought about yoga. I hadn't gotten there yet. I hadn't gotten there yet, crossing my legs and doing all that. And it's hard for me to cross my left leg over my right knee, so I ain't ready for yoga yet. And then I would say number 1, I did get 4 already, right? Yeah, so I would say number 1, it's my motto in life in regards to the biggest room in the world is a room for improvement. So you have to center on self-improvement. If you can center yourself on self-improvement and whatever is going on, you're gonna move forward. So basically, thinking of self and being better will help you get through whatever it is, whatever stresses that's going on that's going to help you get through that. So self-improvement, you know, just and that could be part of the breathing, but just knowing that you have to keep improving will help you get through whatever is going on.
Those are good, man. That's good.
All right. Jose put on here breathing techniques, get sleep, prayer, meditation, exercise, reach out to one person you love and check in. Millennial says sit in the car before walking in the house. Meditating, sitting in the sauna, daily walks. Todd Vick says prayer, meditation, daily scriptures from Mama JT, and exercising.
Yeah, my mom says
Arnolina
scripture every morning.
says practice mindfulness, meditation, sleep, express emotions honestly, seek professional help, manage stress. Somebody says, I'm assuming that meant Pornhub, but they put Cornhub. So he says Pornhub.
Cornhub.
Pornhub. Pornhub is meditation. Yes, that was number 5. Stretching, spending time in nature for 20 minutes at least, no phones.
Yeah, that's good.
The problem with Cornhub is if you don't get the right video, man, you could be on that thing all day.
Searching.
I just heard about that. Got nothing to do with me.
Can I add a six one, a bonus?
Go for it.
I'm talking specifically to black men. Create boundaries for yourself, man. We don't create boundaries. We allow everything in, and we think that we need to solve everything. Create boundaries. That's been my personal most difficult thing to do. Create boundaries, because oftentimes I'm looked at as the person, I'm sure just like you all, the go-to person. I cut it off now, man, for my own self-preservation, man. So create boundaries.
I like that a lot. I have been working on that myself. I have, man, because you're 100% correct. Creating boundaries. So I definitely have cut off a lot. Still got some to go, but being the go-to is, and in this building right here is very difficult. Because I get, you name it, it comes through my office. And I mean, you name it, it comes through there.
You got some good habits, because I've seen him be calm through some things, and I'm like, bro, for real? They said what? You just like, yeah, give him a call. I'm like, well, you good, because I be going crazy.
Frank says sit out back by the pool with coffee every morning, walk the dog, walk everyone out to their cars as they start their day, run back in the house and do Tom Cruise risky business routine, and sleep.
Your retired ass.
Yeah, I want to see that move, man.
I like them.
Long shot. Does he know Alan Davis from Springfield, Massachusetts? You guys have the same mannerism and voice inflections.
Alan David? What's
Alan Davis from Springfield.
Not by name, but Springfield's so small. I'm sure we.
They probably ran into each other.
Absolutely.
Number 1 fan, just real quick. She was referencing what age Unc was. Age of Unc, accuser, and the age of strippers. Men be peeping, most are 18, probably younger. And did Magic City build his business with anyone over 30? Nope. The younger, the better. No, that's facts. That's facts. That's what they're looking for. Sorry, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the youngsters. As TK said, there's a brand new girl graduating next week.
There it is. Yeah, it did. Say it all the time.
So
Yes,
I have I stretch daily. That's one of my big ones. I didn't even realize it was a technique, but I do breathe. I mean, when I wake up, I have to take a couple breaths, knowing what's about to face. You know what I mean? So between breathing, quick prayer, stretching for sure. 3 or 4 days a week, I've been, trying to keep the workouts in and been consistent. And I feel much better after a good workout. Shoot, I don't know a 5th one, so I just steal one of y'all, whatever. What you know. I'm working on the boundary. That's gonna be my
that
fifth
boundaries
one.
and
That's a good one.
The morning routine. I got to get back to that.
Yeah, I got to stretch daily.
I got to get back to the morning routine. When I used to go work out in the morning. Yeah,
I go to bed at 4:45 to get up early. Ain't no question. I don't go to bed at 3:30, 4 o'clock every day.
You're a little different, homie. You're a little different.
I agree. JT Lowe is one of the most emotional, stable people I've ever met. For real. Oh, thank you, man. I have to be around here, man. That took a lot of time. I'm just, you know, it's good some of y'all didn't know me back in the day. I've grown and matured so much. I be proud of myself sometimes.
It's crazy that you say it. We'll talk about that after we get done. But great show, Jamel.
JT asked Lil why he hasn't gone hiking with no more fan. Because I'm not going outside.
Why what?
That's why I ain't going hiking with her. All the bugs, man. I was outside today for like 2 minutes. Bugs got on my last
Get you
nerve.
outside.
You a
brother.
hiker too?
Yeah, I'm a hiker. We started doing whitewater rafting, man, as a group, man.
Listen, I got an elliptical machine with the little
we gotta get y'all
with the
brothers
video
outside,
thing
man.
on it. I'm right there. I'm hiking with them. I'm running. I done ran the rainforest. Hey, I done did it all. I don't know what y'all talking about. I done ran in Paris. I done did all kinds of hiking. I don't know what y'all talking. I hike all the time.
Oh my God!
Right.
Hey.
Hilarious. Oh, was they ran in Paris?
Hey,
said he ran in Paris.
Hey, the rainforest? Oh man, the rainforest run was dope. I rode my bike in the rainforest. It's a true story.
All right, man. We're gonna wrap
Hold on.
this
She
with
said, ask him the age limit for the men's meetup.
Yes, good question. So for Undugu Speaks, the speaking platform, 14 and up. And then for the Chop It Ups, 18 and up, because the conversations they get a little
Risque.
deep. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Good stuff, brother.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
stuff.
great stuff, Jamel. Seriously, appreciate you coming through. I think we're gonna end up having you back, and who was it? Y'all said
Brother Lou.
Brother
Yeah,
Lou.
that's a good-
Look
yeah.
like we're gonna have him and Brother Lou back real soon. I promise. I'm gonna keep asking about it.
Lou will have y'all breathing live. no bullshit. Like seriously. Absolutely.
we will be
Take it in.
we will be visiting the
That's dope.
establishment.
Absolutely.
Establishments and the meetings also. We'll be sure to let y'all know about it. Great show again. Great show. Something.
Thank
that
you
we
for doing this for our people,
Yes.
man.
For real, bro.
Thank you for doing this, man.
For real,
That-
man.
that is so needed, man.
For
It's
real,
just
man.
great to know that
I-
somebody's out there not actually being about it, man. Not talking about it, but
Yeah.
being about it, bro.
We
And I mean that sincerely.
We're gonna talk some because, brother, this was dope. As we've always said, man, with this show, remember to keep checking on your people, man.
Indeed.
With what we just talked about, remember to keep checking on your people. Again, remember to keep checking on your people. And that's it. Classic Konversation.
Hey, listen,
with
man, real quick. I know we got to wrap
JT
up, but look at me real closely, man. To all my friends, if you look at this, if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, man, if you have not subscribed to JT and Lowe Classic Konversations, if you haven't subscribed to the Sit Down at Uptown, if you don't follow Uptown Comedy Corner, are you really my friend? I'm starting to question this thing, man.
Hey,
I don't ask you to watch the show. I just ask you to subscribe to it.
I got space
That's all
on
we
my
ask.
friends list because I done got some people gone. I was full. It ain't
Just
full
ask
no more. I got them gone. It's what it is. Following Shannon, he doing all that stuff with them. Let me stop. Follow us. We good, wholesome guys. Classic Konversations with JT and Lowe.
And Ask a Cop should
we
be here
out.
next week, we assume.
You dig?
Peace.